Hi, this is Chuck, and this is Retirement Ain't Easy, my channel. Normally I would talk about retirement things going on in my life or how I'm handling retirement, my first year retirement. But today is a vinyl tag. I also collect vinyl, and I participated in the 2024 vinyl tag, and so this one is vinyl tag 2025, 20 questions as presented by PrettyGreenVinylGuy. So thanks for those 20 questions. And I'm going to start out with question number 1. I'll read my notes here. Best purchase of 2024, new or old? Well, I'm going to answer this both new and old. So for the old, my best purchase, Ricky Lee Jones. This is the album with Chucky's in Love on it. I had this album, the original album, many years ago, but unfortunately, like many people, I replaced it with a CD, and then I gave my album away, or either I sold it in a garage sale. I can't remember what. And so this past year, I decided to go hunting for this. There's a glare on this, and I found it fairly inexpensive. I think at half-price books or something like that. And so I picked it up to add to my collection again. I love Ricky Lee Jones. For the new collection, for my new purchase, I'm going to go with Alice Cooper's Billion Dollar Baby, the 50th anniversary. It's a really great version. I'd open it up, but then it'd be hard to get it probably back in the plastic. But it's got a whole lot of stuff that came with it. Big $1 million bill, $1 billion bill, etc. So those are my best purchases of 2024, new and old. Next question, number 2. 50 years later, best album from 1974. This was really hard. There's so many choices to look at, and I mean, a lot of bands were kicking off of their careers in 1974 with their first albums. Of course, if you know me, you know I'm a Kiss fan. So part of my deal here is I'm not going to use Kiss as much as possible in a lot of these questions, but a lot of these I could have just said Kiss. But for this one, best purchase, 50 years later, best album from 1974. I'm going to put up a few and then tell you my best one. Of course, Kiss's first album kicked off their careers, 1974. Rush kicked off their career in 1974 with their first album. Then we have Bad Company, kicked off their career in 1974. And then on top of those guys kicking off their careers, you had also albums like New York Dolls, In Too Much Too Soon, Grand Funk, All the Girls in the World Beware. I'm a Grand Funk fan. But my choice for question number 2, 50 years later, best album from 1974, it's going to be Lynyrd Skynyrd, Second Helping. All these other albums were great, but this one probably kicked Lynyrd Skynyrd up into another level with Sweet Home Alabama. What else? Working for MCA, Swamp Music, Call Me the Breeze. Some great songs on here. And this is the original that I believe one of my brothers got for free, believe it or not, for participating in a basketball league when he was a kid in 1974. So that's my question. That's my answer for 50 years later, best album of 1974. Question number 3, an album that defines a genre. Well, whenever I read Cream magazine, there were always 2 bands I would see articles about, and so to me, these 2 bands define the genre. Let me see if you can figure out which genre it is. First off, Sex Pistols, Nevermind the Bollocks. I had the original album. It was a green cover, I believe. This is a reissue. Like always, I got rid of it when I replaced it with a CD. And the other band would be the Ramones. Now, I didn't have any Ramones albums when they first came out, but these 2 bands, to me, and albums define the genre of punk rock. Question number 4. Best band from your home country. Well, I'm living in the United States. I live in Texas. You know, I could have said ZZ Top. As a Kiss fan, I could have said Kiss. I mean, there's Aerosmith, Metallica, Boston, Journey, Cheap Trick, Heart, Alice Cooper, whole bunch of people. Leonard Skinner, Van Halen. I mean, hell, Van Halen. But I'm going to go with one of my favorite bands next to Kiss, and that is Grand Funk. I've been a Grand Funk fan since I was in 7th, 8th grade, maybe, something like that. Me and my friends caught on to Grand Funk and listened to all their stuff. So I don't think I ever had this in an original album. When I was a kid, I started with whatever it was. I started with the live album actually. So, but best band from my home country, Grand Funk, the original Grand Funk. Question number 5: an artist you miss dearly. Well, there's so many that I could think of. One was John Bonham. You always wonder what could have happened if John Bonham had stayed alive, and I still remember where I was when I heard that he had passed away. Then there's Bon Scott. You always wonder what direction AC/DC would have went. I mean, he was such a lyricist when it came to all the sexual innuendos and stuff. So Bon Scott would have been great to continue. And then recently Neil Peart. That was sad that Neil passed away. But I'm going to go with Randy Rhoads. This is the first Ozzy Osbourne album that Randy played on. He played on a couple of them. But I always wondered if Randy were still alive, you know, where would he have been today? I mean, that's one of those what if questions you sometimes ask yourself. Question number 6: best live album in my collection. These were really great questions, by the way. I mean, there's a lot of choices for all of these, but I'm going to toss up a few and then give you my best. Of course, Grand Funk Live, classic, and then they did the other one, their second one that was great as well. I didn't want to use Kiss, like I said, and so, I mean, this is a great album. This would be my number 1 album if I didn't put a clamp on my Kiss fandom. Lowest or Cults, On Your Feet or On Your Knees. This is a great album as well, if you've never heard that before. Of course, everyone, Brampton Comes Alive. I remember when this came out, I was more of a crunchy rock kind of guy like Kiss, and so I didn't listen to this a whole lot. I heard it, but I didn't listen to this. I was listening to Kiss Alive at the time. One of the best as well, top 5, is Foghat Live. That's a great live album. And then an oldie but goodie, J. Geils Band, is also a good one. But out of all those, and I have more, my best live album in my collection, and this is going to be a weird one, and but hell, I just say it. Black Oak, Arkansas's Live Mother. This is a great boogie album, and like the Kiss Alive album, this album takes the studio versions of songs and really beefs them up, makes them sound really good. You got Jim Dandy to the Rescue, Hot and Nasty, of course. A lot of good stuff on here if you've never heard it. And Black Oak, Arkansas, still around, I think, or at least Jim Dandy is, doing stuff here and there. Great album. Great live album. Question number 7. Your partner just dumped you. What album are you putting on? Well, I would probably put on a single and just keep playing a song like Love Hurts by Nazareth, or Love Stinks, J. Geils Band, or Alone Again, naturally, Gilbert O'Sullivan. My choice for album is REO Speedwagon, High Infidelity. It's a lot of really relationship related songs on here. I mean, you got Don't Let Him Go, Keep On Loving You, In Your Letter, Take It On the Run. It's a pretty good breakup album in my opinion. Question number 8. Best sounding drums on an album. Now, I have a recording studio. I'm sitting in my home recording studio, so I took this as best sounding drums on an album, not necessarily the best drummer in the world. I mean, there's a lot of arguments there, but for me, and listening to a bunch of different albums, and whenever I record drums or use drum loops or anything like that, I want my snare to sound a certain way. And I found that, I mean, I know a lot of people said one of their other albums, but I think Led Zeppelin's Physical Graffiti has really great drum sound. I know a lot of people have said Led Zeppelin 4, but I've listened to this a bunch of times, and if you listen to the intro to The Rover, for instance, Kashmir or Houses of the Holy, the drum sound on that is just phenomenal. And whenever I'm mixing drums, bringing my songs or other people's songs, I want the snare to sound like the snare that's on here. So give it a listen. Hey, and give my music a listen. Chuck Stirs in Music. Go ahead and click over in the YouTube channel and listen to it. Thanks. All right, question number 9. Favorite artist who is a member of 2 or more bands. Well, there's a bunch of them, but I'm going to go with Dio, Ronnie James. He could have been one of those others that dearly missed, but Ronnie James Dio, of course, was in Dio. He's in Black Sabbath, of course, and then he's also in Rainbow as well. So, Ronnie James Dio. Question number 10. Beatles or Stones? Well, you know, there was a time when I didn't really care for either of them. I never leaned towards any of them. But the last 4 or 5 years, I've been acquiring a lot of the Beatles reissues, so I'm going to go with the Beatles. To be honest, I have a bunch of Beatles albums now. I only have one Stones album. So, it's the Beatles. Question number 11. You found a bag of weed. What are you going to listen to? Well, you know, the obvious one usually is Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. That comes to mind. But I had to think back to the 70s, and I was surprised watching a lot of the videos that a lot of people didn't smoke weed. But back in the 70s, I did. I haven't done it since 1981, maybe, I think, possibly. So, you know, I don't do that anymore. But if I did, and I found a bag of weed, and I did partake of the devil's lettuce. What we usually did back in the day, back in the day, we would sit around and watch cartoons or watch Monty Python on TV, episodes on late night TV. You know, the old ones were, what's on the TV set? Looks like a penguin. So, but for music, for me, it would be Pink Floyd, Animals. It's a great album to put in the headphones and just relax. But I must say that I have partaken and listened to this album as well. In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. Iron Butterfly. Question number 12. An album from the 1980s you still listen to. Many great albums from the 80s, like we already saw. And a lot that weren't hair band related, but you know, Boston's first album comes to mind. Heavy Metal, the movie soundtrack, Rush's Moving Pictures, Van Halen's 1984, Prince's Purple Rain. All these were great. I listened to them, but not as much as I listened to Rick Springfield's Working Class Dog. I do listen to this. I am a Rick Springfield fan. And I fulfilled a bucket list about 4 or 5 years ago with my wife. We went and saw Rick Springfield headlining with the Loverboy and Greg Kihn, and it was one of those 80s things. So, big Rick Springfield fan, even today. Artist number 13, an artist whose political stance is soured on you. I really hate when musicians and actors, they take their notoriety and they push their views on you and their opinions and tell you who to vote for and all of that. I really don't like that. I'm not soured on him, but I know a lot of people don't like Ted Nugent. But he goes overboard sometimes. But I like me some Uncle Ted. I've been loving Ted since I bought his first album in 1975, I think it was. That Stranglehold album. But then on the other hand, you got people like Nikki Sixx. Really keep your opinions to yourself. And then recently there's Kyle Gass from Tenacious D, who said some really messed up by what he remarked on stage there. Doesn't matter what it's about. It was very mean-spirited and uncalled for, in my opinion. But he's a public figure. They all are, so they need to watch what they say. But for this question, I'm going to have to say I long soured on Roger Waters many years ago with him and his political stance and stuff he's been saying. So I'm not sure why he thinks his opinion matters, or even why anybody listens to him. But, that's my guy, Roger Waters. Question number 14. Show a favorite record label. Well, let's see. Let me take it out and see if you can figure out what the record label is here. And then I'll show you the album. And this is a newer one. Casablanca. This is the newer record label they used, but it's not like the blue one with Kiss. But this album, this is Angel. Angel was also on Casablanca label with Kiss, along with Donna Summers and the Village People and that whole deal. So I can't fault them for that because they gave Kiss a chance. I do want to mention that I learned more about the label by reading Larry Harris's book. He was working at Casablanca, one of the top guys there, along with Neil Bogart. Great book to read if you're interested in that kind of stuff. Lots of drugs and stuff like that, because it was the 70s and 80s. But it's a great book. So Casablanca for that question. Question number 15. Run of 3 great singles. Now, I originally took this to mean singles, and I have a bunch of singles. I have a whole box of 45s from my youth when I was in like 4th, 5th grade, that kind of thing. So originally I was going to say Three Dog Night. Three Dog Night had like 3 singles right in a row off of 2 different albums. But then I thought, okay, maybe it's just for the one album. So my pick for this is Steve Miller's Fly Like an Eagle. And you had Fly Like an Eagle. This is from 1976. Fly Like an Eagle was number 2 on the charts. And then it has Take the Money and Run, which was number 11 on the U.S. charts. These are U.S. charts. And then you have Rockin' Me, which hit number 1 on the U.S. charts. So that's my answer for that. Question number 16. An RSD purchase that you actually consistently listen to. Well, to be honest, I did not make any RSD purchases in 2024. And I've never actually gone out and waited in line and bought on the day of the RS date, record store day. I've never gone and done that. I just don't see the means, the reasons. I'm not that desperate for a record album. And usually when I'm done with the RSDs, I usually listen to them once, maybe twice, and then I'll put them away, and maybe I'll listen to them later, but usually depends. But for this one, I got this in 2023. This is Ted Nugent's Free For All from his vault. This was an RSD 2023, and I've listened to this once, but I have listened to Free For All many times over the years. So I had to pull this one out It's the only one I've listened to more than once recently. Question number 17. You can be reincarnated as any artist, dead or alive. Who is it going to be? Well, I saw a lot of people with different deals, and I'm going to go with Elvis. Think big. I want to be the king. Elvis. That's who I'd like to be reincarnated as. And I have been Art Elvis as Halloween, so I'll post that right here. Question number 18. Best 3 lines in a song. I'm going to have to go with 4 lines because that usually, a verse is usually 4 lines, depending on the song, but the verse leaves 4 lines. And this is a song that I always, whenever I hear this song, or play it, because I can play it on the guitar, I think of my best friend who passed away in 2019. I met him in high school, and we've known each other and played in many bands together. He taught me so much on guitar, and I can't not think of a time when I was on stage playing guitar that I couldn't look over and see my buddy Dennis right next to me. So the lines are, how I wish you were here. We're just 2 lost souls swimming in a fishbowl year after year. Running over the same old ground. What have we found? The same old fears. Wish you were here. Question number 19. An album you never tire of. Well, I'm going to have to go with 2 albums for this one. And I can put these on at any time, and I'll sit there and listen and sing along to them. Number 1 is a little weird, but it's the Tubes' first album. It says Mondo Bondage and White Punks on Dope, and I can put this on and just sing along with it, and constantly. I can put it on rotation in my car and listen to it. And then number 2, Genesis, Wind and Wuthering. Love this album. The Wind and Wuthering tour that Genesis did back in 1977, 78, something like that. 77, I think. That was actually my first concert ever as a kid, so this has a lot of meaning for me as well. But I love these 2 albums. I could listen to them anytime. Question number 20. Share your favorite VC channel. Well, I watch a lot of different ones, and I used to watch a whole bunch more, but I've cut back a lot. But the one that I always watch whenever he releases something is Frank Landry at channel 33 RPM. I watch him all the time. Never miss one of his videos. So, and he's a fellow Kiss fan, so I like to see some of his Kiss stuff, and I like it when he does his vinyl dens, where people send in pictures of where they listen to their music at. That's a great segment as well. So, channel 33 RPM. I'll put that there if you haven't heard of Frank already. Okay, well that's my Vinyl 2025 tag. Again, I'm Chuck, and this is Retirement Ain't Easy. Come back and check some more. I'm going to do the vinyl tag for soundtracks here, probably. And then if you're into retirement, or if you're retired, want to see what I've been doing as a retired person, check out some of my other videos. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it if you comment on any of my choices today. I do love the vinyl community, but I don't put out a lot of vinyl related videos. But I do collect, and I do listen, and it brings back memories of when I was a kid, and in the whole Columbia House and all of that, and collecting records like that. So, thanks for watching. Leave me a comment, like and subscribe, and take care. Peace.